Welcome to Game.Bot Games Presents Generation Dragons, episode 24. Today we have returning guests, David the Broski. All right. Maybe we'll start that part over.
Come on, Steve. Za.
Yeah, I already forgot by the time I was getting there. I was reading.
Don't worry about it.
Gosh.
All right, let's just run with it. So, Dave, welcome back. I know Brad's going to be joining us a little bit later, but I appreciate you joining. Today we kind of just wanted to see how you're doing, talk about some retro stuff, what got you into gaming, a little bit about your NES collection, that kind of thing. But before we jump in, Clint, good to see you, man, as always.
Yeah, you as well.
Cheers.
You as well. Cheers. You too, Dave. Cheers. I changed my setup here. Got a much taller table now, so it's nice. But now I feel like I'm way taller than I was before, so missing some things, but that's okay.
So is it like more of a bar stool size kind of?
Yeah, bar table, bar stool. So
it's kind of what I'm sitting in right now too. And so, well, I'm at a stand-up desk, but I'm sitting on a tall stool. Anywho, we're rambling already, and we haven't even got started.
Yeah, that's it.
So, how you been, Dave?
I've been doing good. Been busy with the close to end of COVID lifestyle, which means a lot of random things going on, which has been great. Actually, leaving the house, it's weird. There's the sun outside. It kind of scared me the first time I saw it.
You guys are so far ahead of us with that stuff. I'm so jealous, but we're getting there too. So we're starting to get out a little bit. We're Clint and I were actually talking about doing a podcast together again. So that'll be good.
Yeah, it'll be nice. Will you be able to sit, further than 6 feet away, like last time when we did it in person, Steve?
Yeah, one end of the table each. Although I think by the end of it, we were leaning in different directions.
Yeah, that was because of a few beers deep. That might have been why. Yeah, no, cool. I again, as I mentioned before, Dave, I loving the PS5 box in the background and the headphones there, the Pulse. That's sweet. When did you end up getting it? Just recently, or?
I actually got about 3 months ago now. 3 months ago now.
Nice.
I was watching a Twitter feed for PlayStation 5 alerts,
yes.
The Matt Swinder one, which is the best one I found. I actually got an Xbox originally off of it, but I really wanted a PlayStation 5, and I had the adult moment of can I get both? And I was still debating on it. I saw the PlayStation 5 available with GameStop, got my bundle. And I said, "Well, I guess I have both."
I don't think it was a risk.
Me said, "Okay, I gotta get rid of one of them." So I ended up selling the Xbox for what I paid for it.
No, that's not bad. You make your money back, and it just goes.
No, I didn't want to mess anyone over, so I just did just enough to cover the taxes and the gas that I had to pay extra on it, which was not too bad, and made a guy and his son very, very happy.
Yeah, no kidding.
Nice.
So I have a lot of respect for that. I don't get when. I know why people do it, but I really have disrespect for people that just buy them to turn them around and make a profit. There's so many people out there that want them, can barely get them, and barely afford them even. And so I'm glad you did what you did.
Yeah. The only extra I added on was just the gas money going all the way an hour and a half drive to go pick it up originally. And the guy was more than happy. He's like, if you find a PlayStation 5, I'll take one too. I'm like, yeah, no, I've got one. I'm done with this. That was a stressful moment.
Oh yeah. I've got another buddy that did that same thing, but he Exchange X or something, some weird website. It was some website like that. I can't remember the name of it, but he did the same thing, and it was but he paid.
Oh yeah.
We paid way out of what he should have paid, but he wanted it so bad that he was willing to pay it. And he's like, well, and he also had to ship it to Bermuda. So that was the other.
Oh,
I
know who that is.
Yeah. That was the other kicker. But anywho, we're getting sidetracked again, once again.
Yeah. What are we 3 minutes in, and we haven't talked about one thing we're supposed to yet?
What have you been playing on the PS5 though? What have you been playing?
Mainly just Call of Duty right now, and I've just been finishing over a bunch of my games. I've been trying to adult, so trying not to play too much of the PlayStation 5. But
did you have? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
yeah.
Just to go back on why you got rid of your Xbox, I kind of wanted to focus on that for a sec. Why did you go pick Xbox over PS5 over Xbox, and did you have Game Pass? And was that part of the equation?
Well, I figured. Well, I have my computer, and you can have Game Pass without having an Xbox. So it is nice to have the transition from your TV to your computer. But if you look at my apartment, the TV's right there. And my computer's right here. So it's not really a far transition for me. I figured I could just get the Game Pass itself and then use my computer, which is a gaming computer. I already have an Xbox controller, which I can keep right near me.
Did you keep it from the box and give the Xbox away missing a controller?
No, that luckily I actually bought that one separately before I even got the Xbox One
X. My Series S came like that. It came missing its controller.
Really?
Yeah, but it was on purpose. The person who gave it to me gave it to me $100 cheaper.
Yep.
So, and I'm like, yeah, at that price, and it works with all the old controllers. Yeah, done. I already had an Elite controller anyway, so.
Yeah,
exactly. Makes sense. So now that we're done talking about new games, as Steve had mentioned about your, what got you, last time you were on here, we talked about games you play, Dragon Quest, Dragon Quest, and whatever you call it, what's the other name for it?
Dragon Warrior.
There you go, Dragon Warrior. I don't know why I drew a blank on that one. What got you into gaming? What pushed you into it? Did you used to subscribe to Nintendo Power, and that's what drove you into it? Was it a movie? What happened?
I remember actually going over a friend's house, and they had the Nintendo, and we played Super Mario Brothers, the first one, which I know is everyone's lead-in for a game. And I played Atari before. I remember getting excited to go over to my grandmother's house because my uncles that lived there at the time had an Atari, playing Pong, and actually I very clearly remember playing E.T., even though I never got to the glitch level.
No Sword Quest?
A little bit of Sword Quest. I do remember that a little bit. But it was really hard at one point because the only adapter we had was for the old style 2-prong back TV.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't really get to play the Atari much after that. As they got older and they moved on, and I'm sure we had it in our house somewhere, but Lord only knows where that went. But then I started seeing my friends have the video games, and we were not destitute family, but we didn't have a lot of money for the extras like video game systems and awesome computer stuff. Most of the stuff we had was leftover hand-me-downs for those. So I never expected to get one, but I do remember when my dad actually had a friend called a friend over, and they showed up, and I watched him hand over a Nintendo to my dad, and my dad handed him a bunch of cash. My dad's saying, I have no more questions about where this came from.
Get rid of that truck with the open door.
Yeah. And I just remember he's like, you guys wanted a Nintendo? I got you a Nintendo. And I was one of the first ones to play it. I remember my dad setting up on the TV, and from that moment on, of just playing that first game of Super Mario Brothers with me, my brother, and my sister, it was just on. Nice. And it wasn't even the game itself. I mean, I'll be honest, we ended up playing more Duck Hunt than anything because we only have one game.
Damn dog. Hated that dog.
Yeah, I tried to shoot him so many times. But we didn't argue over the controllers or the zapper. We all played, and it was actually kind of fun. That didn't last. But then we started getting into more games. They started opening up rental stores because it was really expensive even then for video games. So they started renting video games for like $5 a day or $3 a day, $7 on weekends. That's when I started realizing like what real gaming was, because I got to at least try the games before I bought them. And I played them so many times that some of the rental places started giving me the games. So from that point on, I'm like, anytime I saw a game on sale that I had money for, or a store going out of business like Stewart's down in Boston, I'll never forget, I was getting $80 games and $60 games for like $3 each with like track and field.
Wow.
And
love that game.
I now have like 40 games. I went from having like 2 in one cartridge to 40, and it was on.
Oh, yeah.
And it truly was Dragon Warrior that got me really into gaming. And then Final Fantasy. Once I got those, I realized it was replay value. I couldn't always beat the levels in Super Mario Brothers either because I was too young and I wasn't as dexterous. But Dragon Warrior, it had its own storyline. If I got beat up, it reset back to a specific point. And if I didn't remember to save the game, that was on me. So it taught me so much just for a reading level and how games work and consequences of not taking the time to save games and really building up your character. But also there was so many hidden minute details and things you can skip and go back and find later. Right. It's funny because I just found something out on that original Nintendo game about one extra storyline. Huh. And now I needed to find every video game that had some in a unique storyline. And every time that there was something cool inside a game, I had to find out. So I stopped reading Nintendo Power magazines and talking to friends and getting all the codes. And it was
Did you ever call it Did you ever call into the power line or what? Nintendo's helpline? Did you ever call into one of those?
I wanted to, but my mom and dad scared me enough that I was if like I knew if I dialed that number and it was because I remember it was a 900 number.
Yeah.
Locked it.
If I dialed into that number and it was on the phone
crazy.
bill,
Yeah.
I was going to be in big trouble.
Yeah, it makes me wonder. I have yet to meet someone who's been able to call into that.
My buddy used to call in all the time.
Really?
Yeah, this is pre even bulletin boards, like pre-internet, pre-bulletin boards. So if you wanted to find stuff, you literally had to buy a magazine, book, or hope it was in Nintendo Power or something else. You know, and people just pass codes and ideas and things, not ideas, secrets around like on paper. But yeah, he had a little bit more disposable money from his mother, and so he was allowed to call that. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. But I always thought that would be the job for me when I was older.
Hey, it could have been. They stopped in 2010. 2010 was the last. They closed down in 2010.
That is true, but I can't believe it lasted that long, man. After the internet, who would care? Like everything you could just find. Like even strategy guides are gone.
Yeah, you can really only get them for specific games. It's like collector's editions of them and stuff like that. They include.
For me, it was Zelda because I wanted it, not because I needed it, but I found myself like it was 10, 15 years earlier, and I was going through a strategy guide, and and then picking up the Switch and.
Yeah. Well, that's even like looking at the old Nintendo Powers when you're saying talking about like looking at Nintendo Power to look for a strategy guide. It's intense. The older like issues like 20 and 15, the older issues, the ones from the early 90s that have like their strategy guides are pretty in depth within the Nintendo Power, and it's like 6 or 7 pages of like Super Metroid strategy guide. I'm just like, oh man, this is cool because I didn't know I could do this or I could do that or go here or go there. So it was sweet that they did that back in the day.
Did anyone else read the comics on those? Nestor and Howard?
Oh yeah, I was going to say it before you. Yeah, that was great. Did you ever see the real dude that they based it off of? I can't think of his.
Oh yeah,
what was his name?
Ah, God, I can't remember. I read a blog on a blog something on it about whole format of that.
He always had his bow tie and.
Yep.
Come on, Clint. You must know this.
No, I know who. Yeah, I can't. It's not.
When I edit the video, I'll have the name flash up at this point.
Yeah. I can't remember. No, well, I mean, like I just bought the issue 56 to 61, 57 to 61. I can't remember now. That have the Metroid comic in it. So I was like, and I was lucky enough to find them for like $5 an issue. So I was like, yeah, okay, I gotta jump on that because it's a story for Metroid that can't really find it anywhere. It's pretty hard to find it online and stuff. So it's like, okay, well, why not, right? I spend ridiculous amounts of money on comic books already. Let's spend $5 on it's $5 on a magazine.
You're gonna hate me when I tell you at one point I think it was the first 200 I ordered off of eBay.
Wow.
And
the first 200
I lost
magazines.
them in water damage in my garage. No. But yeah. Like they were just mush.
Oh, man. Awful.
The poor guy, I'll never forget the poor post office guy delivering them to my office because I had them delivered there. And he just looked at me and he goes, "This was not fun. I had to carry these upstairs."
And then you got to carry them back.
It was a gigantic archive box that was almost 4 or 5 feet long.
Nice.
Wow. What did that soak you for?
What did that cost? I think it was like $80. It was not bad.
This insanely good.
This was back in like 2003.
That was the heyday of stuff.
Yeah. Pre anyone caring that much about it mainstream, right? I mean, hey, $1.65 million for a effing boxed Super Mario 64. Like that is ridiculous.
Right? Oh man!
The minute I read like about some of those games, I ran to my collection and started looking for like the track and field to see which version I had because I'm like, I know I have 2 of them. I'm like, let me see. Does one of them the special one that's going to be worth all this money? And neither of them are.
Dang.
So what games do you have in your collection? Anything oddly rare or anything that you're super proud of?
I was super heavy on the RPG games, so I had Final Fantasy, of course, and the Dragon Quest series, Dragon Warrior on the Nintendo cartridge. Faxanadu was a good one. Willow, which was surprisingly a Disney movie, and a really good video game, even though some people don't like it. It was actually one of the few video games I really liked that didn't have a regular save state. It was a password save.
Oh,
I remember that. I still have both of those games that you just mentioned, but I remember that with Xanadu.
Yeah.
Write down the whole thing and check it like 5 times because it was like that long, if I remember right.
Oh yeah. Of course, Metroid, and I think I have to look, but I used to tape the Justin Bailey password on the back, and one other password to get towards the end.
nice.
Thank you, Erica.
Nice. Now I just cheat using the Switch Online and just jump into it right at the end because you just play. I'm like, so there's a guy that I follow on Instagram, Phil Summers is his name, and he just does art, and he did a Contra and Zelda, like OG Contra, OG like Zelda strategy guides, all hand drawn and stuff like that. So he's doing one for Metroid, and I keep like bugging them. I'm just like, hey man, like I want to make sure I get one because I want a physical copy of it. But that's it. I think I'm going to wait till his strategy guide comes, so then I will actually go through Metroid all the way because I've only ever played it. I've never finished it, the first Metroid, because of just the challenge of it, right? And the age I was when it first came out, I mean, that wasn't a game we had growing up. So mine was Mario Duck Hunt cartridge and like ice hockey. Oh yeah, ice hockey.
He was skinny guy, fat guy, and medium guy.
Yes, that was the
Yep, I
best.
never
day
had
we
the
used to call
fat
it,
guy
like-
fight the skinny guy.
Yeah, exactly.
I always played. We always called the skinny guy Wayne Gretzky, and then I think the fat guy was like Ron Hackstall, and then on the ice instead of eating nets. Back in the day.
My brother and I would play ice hockey a lot, and he mainly played that game because he wanted, one, he was actually better at it than me. Don't tell him I said that. And two, it was because he wanted to fight.
So did you ever play Blades of Steel?
I have it, but I don't remember playing it.
Oh man, it was so good. It was a good version, and I loved
I
it in the
think I
intermission.
rented it at one point. I do remember playing it and renting it at one point, but I didn't have it for too long.
Well, in the intermission, when they're changing in sides of the ice, you get to play Gradius in between, and then after it gives you your like time limit on it. It goes great games, great graphics, Konami. But it was the same damn game every game. I was hoping they'd give you a different, but I actually won a tournament in that game, so that's why that one's dear to my heart.
Nice.
I played the death of it. So, all right, we cut you off. Kind of, what else you got in your collection?
So I continued on to the Super Nintendo. I actually just bought an adapter so that way I can actually use my Super Nintendo on my regular TV now, which is a godsend. During my COVID vacation, where I didn't really go anywhere, but I took a week off, I sat there and I played every Zelda game from 1 through all the way on each console that I had. So I pulled out
Did you actually
the original
finish them?
Nintendo cartridge. What's that?
Did you actually get through them?
I did. Actually, I shouldn't say
Wow.
I'm done. I'm on Majora's Mask.
Nice.
But then I got a Switch and started playing Breath of the Wild. So I was like, okay, no, that's kind of yeah. So I get that and a few of the Nintendo Wii ones, which I also have.
Hey, Skyward Swords next week. I mean, this Friday, I should say. I really liked it on the Wii, but then that's it. I couldn't. But it sounds like all the improvements, all this pain points I had with it on the Wii, have now been improving. So I'm just like, okay, perfect. Like I don't need to use motion control. I can control the camera. I don't have to listen to the Fi or Fee, whatever the guardian is of the sword. Yeah. Not quite, hey, listen. She was way more annoying.
At least with Navi, I could turn down the volume and just it wouldn't be as bad.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
You just tone her out after a while. The other one, no.
Yeah, that's it. No, that's sweet, Majora's Mask. That's an excellent one. I really like that one. That was a good one. That's a good Zelda.
Yeah. So, and as Steve will tell you, I even have the Super Game Boy.
Nice.
Super
You just
Nintendo.
picked that up too.
Yeah.
So Clint and I, maybe 3 months ago?
Yeah,
I think so. I got mine about 6 months or 9 months ago. It was
No, I'm saying Clint and I.
Oh, you both got your own.
Yeah, I found one and I had 2 of them for $50 each, and I'm like, "Do you want one?" And he's like, "Yeah." And so I just grabbed them. I didn't want to miss.
Oh no! Oh,
I can't hold that over you that I have one and you don't anymore.
Nope. I'm sure there's lots that you have that I don't, like a PS5.
Right?
Still don't have a PS5, right? So eventually,
is the other one I got too. I love that thing.
Genesis,
especially Mortal Kombat, because you can turn on the blood.
You can, but your favorite game on Genesis, and see if you'll be impressed with mine.
Believe it or not, it was Mortal Kombat. That was the one thing we always went to.
I'm going to say Shining Force.
Really?
Yeah, that was the first time I ever played a turn-based RPG and actually got really into it. And that game just sucked me right in. So,
And
Genesis didn't have enough RPGs for me. That's kind of why I always switched back to the Super Nintendo.
I didn't see Shining Force as your go-to game, Steve, on the Genesis. Did not see that.
I know. It just was thinking about it a while ago. I don't know why I didn't think of it then, and I'm missing it. I don't have it anymore. And I believe it's Shining Force. Was it 2?
Two?
I don't remember.
Yeah, probably 2.
I'm missing whatever one I used to have was, because I did a trade-in for the PS1 back in the day with a bunch of SNES and Genesis stuff.
Right. Yeah.
And I never was able to find it again at a decent price, because by the time I started to try to look for it, it was always jacked up in price. Like Metal Warriors is another Super Nintendo game that I've been off and on looking for, but it's always like $150. So
I'll check out my go-to with the Super Game Boy down in Mass.
I got to go to that store. We got to go to the store. We can almost go across the border. Well, not really, but
soon
as we can.
We can fly there. We're good. We can fly.
But you can't drive.
Yeah, this is true. This is true.
All right, so flying to Boston, I'll meet you. I'll bring you guys down to Taunton, Mass, and I'll bring you to the Land of Electronics down there.
I wonder what a flight would cost these days.
It may not be that. Hey, dude, it's like $250 to fly to Vancouver for us round trip. So I can't imagine.
Insanely cheap.
Yeah.
So.
100%. Yeah, and the Genesis. That's Mortal Kombat. That was an excellent Mortal Kombat 1, or was it 2? Which one was your go-to?
I had 1 and 2, but my go-to was always 1. Because that was when I knew the best of the combos, and that was like beat other people quickly. But also pick a new character that I wasn't as good at, so that way I can even the playing field if it was someone new playing.
Yeah, fair.
Those trees with the faces in the second one used to creep me out all the time. Oh, God, I hated those things. So, did you ever play Mutant League? Clint's going to shake his head and roll his eyes, but did you ever play any either?
No.
Steve, no one played Mutant League, man. No one played that.
I played it.
Clearly, yeah, that's true. I never played it back in the day. Just more recent.
Yeah, I guess it was a niche thing, but I used to love the football one a lot. Hockey was okay, but the football one, I just love that you could like maim guys, throw bombs, and they don't come back, knock them off the field. In the hockey, you could chuck them under the ice, like check them under the ice, and they'd be floating underneath. For the period. Like people throw chainsaws on the ice, you can literally go by the guy and cut him in half. Yeah, it was a pretty rough game. So
good stuff.
Yeah, so where are we at?
Yeah, so we were talking about collection of your Nintendo game. What other Nintendo collection, like games in your collection, was your
Well, then I jumped up into I wanted to get the Dreamcast and Jaguar and all of them, and I will get those eventually. But I did get a Philips CDI.
Nice. That's
years later that afterwards, because I really wanted one because I wanted to play the Zelda games.
I was going to say, do you have the Zelda games?
I could not find the Zelda games afterwards at a price that I could afford.
I saw the game like in a display. I never actually played it, and then just on TV or on the internet. But all I can think of is that horrible Zelda commercial. Well, excuse me, princess, where Link was always saying that. And I'm like, I bet you that's what the game played like.
Yeah. It was kind of, I ended up watching the gameplay online. I did download some emulators for the Philips, but I could never get any of the emulators to work right. I didn't even get to the ROM part. The emulators themselves back then were just really bad. And I was like, you know what? That was still kind of new to computing and how this all worked. I'm like, I have a feeling I'm going to get in trouble. And I was smart enough not to continue. So I just watched somebody else's gameplay recently on YouTube of all the games.
Nice.
And I realized I did not miss out on much.
Yeah, totally nothing like a Zelda game.
No, it's perfect for a collector and to have it to say you have it, but then it's not something you want to have.
Yeah.
I thought Link 2 was hard, so.
Do you have any accessories and things like the Power Glove or anything like that?
I don't have the power. I did have the Power Glove growing up. I don't know what happened to it. That one I kind of miss. I mean, but the Wizard kind of made that seem like everyone had to have one.
I know.
And it did not work when I was going like this, trying to fly the
center.
Xbox. They even had that same game too.
Center.
Yep. I'm like,
The only game I think I ever really played in it with it was like more than a few minutes and not getting frustrated. Like Mario, maybe, because I used to use this to run fast and then to jump.
oh,
But
yep.
Punch Out was probably the only one that I did because it didn't care that much if you were off. Like it just the motion and he'd go up or down. But it is so hard to use that thing to play games.
Oh, yeah.
Like
But the trackpad, I have that still.
the power pad.
Oh, nice.
Yep.
Could you just get on the floor and do this?
Oh yeah, when me and my brother, I'll never forget when we actually originally got the first one way back when the store closed, Stewart's closed down in Brockton, Mass. So we're getting all these accessories that were normally hundreds of bucks. It's like $5. One of them, like I think we actually bought for literally $3.
Just clearing them out.
Oh yeah, it was like 90. It was like beyond anything I've ever seen, like 99% off.
Wow.
They're like, we would not taking any of this, so get rid of them. So we got that. My dad was like, sure, you know what? This is one time I'm going to be able to give you guys everything like this. Go have at it. Pick everything you want. You can pick 10 of them. We did. And then we went back with my mom and like, can we pick 10? She's like, sure. Don't tell your dad. So we
You still have
them. The Pro trackpad. Oh my God. We played it all night. And by the end of that night, we realized all we had to do was use our heels and get through the whole game. We beat the whole game.
Do you
I didn't
still
even
have
jump
them?
over the hurdles at the end. I was just like, forget it.
Well, if you jump, you just do this. Like
Oh,
hold
yeah,
your
good
arm.
idea.
So I just remember playing track and field like that. Being like, jump! Look at him fly! Okay, go. But do you still have your
we
power
actually
pad?
found it fast to use our heels too, because that way you could just go. It's super
That's
fast.
interesting. Yeah.
Because like you only need to get it. Like once we realized where the buttons were, you only need to just press and release the button slightly. So we just kept like hovering our feet, and then we had like my 6 or 7-year-old selves down in that basement, just nonstop playing this track and field game. My dad's looking at us like, I don't think either of you get outside ever. I'm surprised you guys haven't passed out from this kind of exercise.
Hey, Dad, we're exercising. Like this is exercise. We're playing track and field. We're track and field stars. What are you talking about?
Exactly. We're going to be awesome. Look, I just beat the game in the first day we got it. I think my mom even got like the aerobics one to work out on it.
Huh.
Nobody did that.
No, it's like our Wii board that we used for like 3 days.
Yeah.
But anyway, do you still have the power pad?
I do. It's
nice.
Like folded up, wrapped in a plastic bag in the back corner with all my other collectibles that I will eventually get to display somewhere someday. I never kept the boxes on them. I tried to. I did my best. But disorganized 6-year-old to 40-year-old Dave did not achieve that goal.
Yeah.
Oh, it's hard. It's hard to keep boxes, especially when you're a kid. Like if it's collection is from when you were younger. It's hard to keep boxes, right? I think I have an Xbox box, OG Xbox, but it came with the Xbox that I bought from somebody. So it was just like, okay, well that worked. But yeah, it's kind of did not go too well. I
do a box purge about once a year. Like from all the things I collect or grab, I'll just save the boxes, and then I run out of room to put new boxes in, and then I have to do a purge. I'm like, oh, I could live without this one. I could live out with that one. Anyway, welcome to the call, Brad. I don't know if you can hear us.
Better late than never, I've heard.
Yeah, welcome.
How do you do?
Tremendous.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Yeah. So we were just talking about old retro stuff, and Dave was going on about how he used the power pad and used to use his hands to jump on it with heels. Sorry. Yeah, that was a pretty good story. Yeah.
That was the most exciting I ever got in my life, Brad. That was great.
You were pretty heely with it?
Oh, yeah. I rocked them. I'm just saying.
Brad, it's good. Robots. Is that a PS5 back there? That's not retro.
Yes, he's got a PS5.
That's not retro.
It will be in about 10 years. That's why I'm saving the box.
Oh, yeah. Good idea. So I came in late. Where am I in the conversation?
Well, before I fill you in, just welcome and thanks again for joining us.
Oh,
good to have you. Literally, we over the place. We kind of went on about what brought Dave into gaming, what's in his collection, what are kind of some of the games that he liked and whatnot. So, yeah, why don't we throw that to you? What brought you into gaming, and what games were influential? If I can even say that freaking word.
Yeah, well, it's easy for Canadians to say, I guess.
Yeah, a little bit.
I remember our very first console, and this was probably already talked about, but the Atari 2600, I believe, like the pseudo wood on it, the playing Pong with the paddles and the wheels. It was crazy. It was way back there, but we loved it. I mean, I think we played that, I don't know, hours a day. You know, as a kid, it seems like forever, right?
Yeah.
That was the very first one. That was way back when in gosh, 70s. Is that right?
77 when it was
Late
launched.
70s?
So
Yeah.
you could have it any point after that.
And then, so another like big point was the computer I had in college, and that was a Epson XT. I think it was an i386 or something like that. It was back there. I think it had 4 meg of RAM, which, you know, who would need any more than that? And playing games on that, like I think I want to say it was like Pools of Radiance, like the D&D game. You guys remember that one?
I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
You do.
Heard of it. I wanted to play it when I was a kid, but we didn't have a computer that could use it.
Yeah. Yeah,
I remember
those were the two like
influential
seminal points, if you will. Yeah. But yeah, that started me on the road, and college was also where I regained D&D, because D&D started in like, I want to say elementary school, like just before middle school, and then
you're talking tabletop, right?
Yeah, going tabletop, and then that, you know, finding Pools of Radiance to play on the PC, and then that sort of like, you know, went forward on from there. But yeah, Pools of Radiance and Pong, I guess, were the
man, Pong.
Yeah.
Ever play Cubert?
Oh my god, that's my wife's favorite game.
If we're gonna go back to the arcade, yeah.
They had Cubert for Atari too.
So we played it on like an old 286 at the time. That's the first time I ever played Cubert. And it was awkward because the keypads didn't make you go up down. They made you go on angles, right?
Right.
So we'd always screw up and jump off the edge until you got your kind of feel for it.
Did you ever learn how to speak Cubert?
Yeah, only because I swore, and that's how I say I was doing it. So you sidetracking a bit, but you're talking about like the 4 megs of RAM. I remember having a conversation with my mother and buying my first 1 terabyte drive, I guess. No, gigabyte. 1 gigabyte drive. And I couldn't quite afford it. I needed like $15, you know, to get it with tax. And I'm like, Ma, just spot me the $15. I'll give it to you on my payday. I just, like, you don't understand. I'll never fill this up. This is like a life drive. Life drive.
Yeah.
And, oh, man, they got it full within like weeks.
Did she laugh at you?
She believed me about it. She was just ignorant to that stuff, right? She didn't know. She's like, okay, yeah, it seems like a good deal if it's going to last you your life.
Your whole life. Actually, do you still have it?
Oh, God, no, that's long gone. That would have been in the early 90s to mid 90s.
Yeah.
It was like a steal of a deal when I got it, too, because they're like hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I think it was mostly just filled up with me going on the Ottawa free sites, looking up dirty pics I shouldn't be looking at and waiting like 5 minutes for each pic to load. I'm like, oh, please be hot, please be hot. Zzz, come on. Oh, man, I wasted 10 minutes.
Someone picked up the phone halfway through and I lost the internet.
Yeah. So, yeah.
56K. Actually, I had a 14.4K then. So, but I knew if you went on Ottawa Freenet after 11 p.m. till 6 p.m., 11 to 7, it was free and limited time, but you only got an hour during the day and you had to put the code to whatever ads came up when you first logged in.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I remember that actually.
Finally, we caught up to Clint.
I remember that.
I had Prodigy back in the day, so.
You had which?
Prodigy.
That's a provider in the US, I guess.
Yep. So it was a dial-up telephone provider, but they had like their own like UI system and everything. So you actually launched it through theirs before you could freely browse the internet. When you actually had Explorer and all that, you had to use their. It was like AOL where they had their own browser built into it.
Yeah.
Right.
which we all had that too, and we all got 5 million discs for that.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
I used to use those for coasters and stuff when I was a young guy living.
got like
on my own
1,024 hours to go.
Before the CD-ROMs, and you'd get the 3.5-inch floppies. I used to take those, cut the corners so they'd be high density, and I had what's called a double Pro Fighter, and it would let me copy any ROM from a Super Nintendo or a Sega Genesis, but onto 3.5 floppies. But I didn't have a lot of money back then, so I would just go get what we had, these monitor magazines or AOL discs, and I just put my own stickers on them, format them, cut the corners, and boom. And most games took 2 discs.
Yeah.
So. But I worked at a game store actually when I first got it, and so during the day I just put it underneath the counter and just copy all the games. So I had shoe boxes of games. It's
that's
crazy.
awesome.
I still have one shoebox left, with some of them in there. Metal Warrior is one of them.
You weren't stealing them, Steve. You were preserving them. That's what you were doing. You were preserving them. That's
And my boss wanted me to do it so I was familiar with the product.
Yes, right.
Yes.
Yep.
There was one computer game I used to play that I could never remember the name of that I've always wanted to try to find again. It was like one of those
Leisure Suit Larry?
point and click adventures. That I had too. Actually, I think I have that. I do. My brother actually gave me an updated version of that for Christmas one year, and he couldn't stop laughing.
What Dreams Never Die? I mean, apparently it's called that.
Yeah.
Actually, I think it is.
I don't think
it
I
was
let
like
my
a
mom
point and click
know.
adventure game.
I don't think I let my mom know I ever had that one.
I would hope not, right?
No.
My friend had that one. It was all text-based when we first got it.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Like you'd have to try to get the words right to like go to bathroom or open door or something like that, if I remember right.
Yep. I just remember him loading it up, and then I was trying to figure out, so like first time, what to do.
I remember
just getting past the age requirement was exciting because apparently if you put 100, they said you were too old, but if you put 99, you were okay.
You got it. I forgot about that. Yeah, that's right. I remember I actually got with the girl and was able to sleep with her. But then, like, because they had a censored sign over right at the spot of the action. And when I got up, my crotch blew up. And it was all because I didn't wear a condom.
Steve, your crotch or Leisure Suit Larry's crotch?
Yeah, I was too excited, mine.
Yeah.
And but yeah, in the game, if you didn't wear a condom, like, it was all these little things you'd learn and have to go back and redo. So
Leisure Suit Larry was like your South Park. I mean, like my South Park.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
South Park, Family Guy.
Yeah,
Well,
only
not Family Guy, South Park.
To be totally frank with you, I really only ever played it when I'd go to my buddy's house. And it'd be one or two of us, and we'd all be like giggling like crazy, loving this game, trying to figure out what to do. And his parents didn't care, right? They'd just come and make fun of us, and then they'd go back to drinking. So it was great.
That's the way all our parents were, weren't they?
Yeah, kind of. Cigarettes right next to me while I'm eating my cake, and yeah, back in the day, 80s kids.
You're not bothering me, so I'll go back to partying with my friends. Good. Yeah.
Oh man. Nowadays, if my kids are gone for more than like a half hour, I get worried if they're not here.
Right.
When I was a kid, my parents didn't know where I was gone until like 9 o'clock when they're mad at this point, yelling, "David, get your ass home!"
You start having flashes of like a Liam Neeson movie or something.
Yeah, I know who you are. I have special skills.
I have a certain set of skills. I will find you.
It. Yeah. I actually really like those movies in the beginning, but now they're overdone a bit.
Well, at some point, you just got to wonder if he's a bad parent.
Yeah, how many kids is he going to lose or whatever?
Well, I mean, technically, he did die for Anakin.
I don't know if he actually died for Anakin or just lost to Darth Maul, but yeah.
Is this some sort of crossover now, Clint?
Well, no, Liam Neeson, right? He's Qui-Gon Jinn, is he not? So
he is.
Died for Anakin. So. That's where it started. That's where he dropped the parenting ball. Was Star Wars.
The original parent ball drop.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. Nice.
I'll train you. Yeah. So,
And,
Brad, what about we asked Dave? We didn't ask you this. What do you have in your collection that's special to you? It's dear. Like, I don't know how much of a collector you are. I know Dave has a whole whack of NES stuff. What do you got?
Oh, for what I'm hanging on to? Well, funny you should ask.
Sega.
Ooh.
You haven't even opened it.
It's been I just got this back. So here's the thing. Just leave that right there to tempt you, whichever. So we just got into our new house here. I just put art on the wall.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. Peloton, so I can get back in shape. And so that after the Atari, my younger brother, who's 9 years younger than me, had a Sega. I never got to play with it. I was already at school, hockey, soccer. I didn't have time for a lot of computer games. So he got the Sega, was still in my dad's house, but the cable, Dave, we talked about this, the cable for the controllers, it's frayed, it's broken.
Yeah.
So I've got to replace that, but I've got I want to think 7 or 8 games in there. So
I'll ship you mine. I get extras. I get 7 of them or 8 of them.
Yeah, we'll get the Sega back online, but that, as far as collecting or getting back stuff from the olden times, medieval times, that's all I got.
You got memories.
I got my memories, most of them. Yeah. What another, I guess, bad thing that happened, and Clint, I think Dave knows this, but I had a fire at our house the week I graduated from college. Oh, so I lost everything. I lost comic books. I lost computer games. I lost computer. So I never really recovered from that. I tried to get some comics back. I tried to get some games back, but it's never quite the same.
No, you never will. Even if you have great content insurance and that, you'll never get it all back. And then on top of that, back then you probably didn't have automatic digital backups of photos. I always think about if I lost all this, all this stuff out there, and you have at least I have my photos because I know that they're all backed up in the cloud and I can remember. But
yeah, that was not even thought of, that kind of
then it's shit, where are my Polaroids? Only have a minute to get out of the house.
But what my parents did have was all our circle of friends had similar photos to what mom and dad had on the wall. So they took a copy of it and gave it to mom and dad. So it was similar to the picture we had there,
It's like you're in a Mirrorverse version.
Just a little bit off. It was from this angle or a little bit off to this angle.
Yeah.
So this is what it's like if I made the choice of taking it from over here.
Yeah. It would be like if Clint took the picture and Dave took the picture, and I lost Dave's picture, but here's Clint's, and it's just that little bit off. It was super sweet, really nice to get a lot of that back. But yeah,
I'm sorry to hear that though. I'm glad you at least got the Genesis back. I'm guessing by the box size, it's a Model 2.
It was after the fire, so it was AF. So yeah, it came around after.
Yeah.
But, Gen 2. I
think it's probably the one that's all black. It doesn't have the round circle on it.
I think it's great.
Or well,
I can say I should go. Let me go grab mine, and that way you can match it.
Okay.
Oh, never mind.
So that's Model 1.
Yeah.
Or my Model 2 is my Model 2 is connected to a Sega CD and a 32X. So I'm not gonna go get that.
Oh, okay. All right.
But if you have yours, Dave.
But I'll get that online and get you some footage. So
yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah,
brings back memories. So
yeah, but that's, as far as collecting that's all I got. I mean, maybe I'm living with that trauma and that I don't collect that much anymore because not holding on to material things. I
realize that you might be onto something, and right now I'm not ready to give any of that up, but I realized recently how much all that doesn't matter to someone else. I was thinking if anything ever happened to me, it's literally just gone.
Yeah. Hey Steve, it'll matter to me, if you go before I do.
Gotcha.
Okay.
It'll matter to 3 of us.
Yeah, I'll will it all to you guys because I talked to my wife about this, and I'm like, "What are you going to keep?" And she's like, "I'll keep an Optimus Prime." I'm like, "But I have 300 Optimus Primes. What else are you going to keep?" A Optimus Prime. I'm like,
we'll take your biggest one, Steve, and we'll hollow it out, and you can put your ashes inside of it.
Oh,
I'd have to die several times to fill that sucker up. It's
My brother actually said he knew what I said. I'm like, oh, if anything ever happens to me, I'm like, make sure you take the Dragon Quest games, and if you And bury me with my Nintendo and the Dragon Warrior games. That's it.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah.
That's the stuff you
They
can
can't take
take,
it
you
with
can
you.
sell. I don't care, but those go with me.
But
He goes, but
I'm
I'm
gonna
like
check-
one of them worth like $500 online. I'm like, it goes with me.
End of story.
So I'm going to change gears a little bit. Did you guys ever get into board games? I know you did, but I'm talking about more kiddie games. Did anyone ever play Fireball Island or Torpedo Run? Yes.
Oh.
Which one?
Fireball Island.
That game was awesome.
I loved it. I actually got it used at a yard sale because I would actually troll those for Nintendo games. But once in a while, you'd find like a gem of like a really good board game.
So for
Yeah,
you two,
that was one of them.
so you don't know what it is. It's like the Indiana Jones version of a board game. It's this large board game that's plastic, but it's like way like 3D textured, and you had to walk your little explorer up and down around.
Yeah.
And they called it Fireball Island because there's a whole bunch of marbles, but these were fireballs that could get launched and knock you off a bridge or knock you off your path. You have to start over. And
I kind of remember that actually.
had to get a gem in the center of this giant mouth on the top that was like a skull kind of looking thing.
Yeah.
And they remade the game through Kickstarter on Amazon, but to get they did one of these almost like DLC type ideas where you get the main game and then you get the expansions, and they're all like $100 each. And I was like, ugh, I don't want to spend that much on that game, but I kind of do, but I kind of don't.
Although now we would, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, that's just it. It's just released. But my wife poo-pooed the idea when she realized I had to buy the expansions too. So all of a sudden, we just went through this twice with X-wing versus Star Wars, or X-wing, sorry, the miniature game, and then
Star Trek.
Attack Wing, the Star Trek version. But each ship is $15 a piece, and the starter is like 50 to 70 depending on which starter kit. And I probably have dozens and dozens of ships. Like if you add it up, it's
too
a lot of
many,
money.
Steve. It's too
Yeah,
many.
and I even have like the Borg Cube and Deep Space Nine, and they're like this big.
Yeah.
You know, and so
I want to go over your house and play that.
oh, it's like, so the few guys that do play it with me, we have to like plan out a whole day, depending on how many points you're going to use and whatnot. And we generally play like a 300-point battle, so we can use like the Rebel Blockade Runner, even the CR. I forget the designation, but they're big. But it'll take hours because this card will do this card will do that, and then you. But
So it's like the Talisman except Star Trek.
yeah, very much so. So, but like I made a whole bunch of my custom cards too to try and get my kids and my wife to play. So like, you know, this card, if you're a female captain, gives you +2 persuasion over any male counterpart. So like I could do something and all of a sudden she plays that card. I'm like, shit, you know, like.
Well, no wonder Chakotay did anything Janeway said.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I had one that
Tom Paris had kids with her.
well, I did, yeah, right. I did the facepalm one from Captain Picard. He's like, and I made that card like if you just made a stupid move, you can play this card to take it back. So,
you ever play Nightmare?
Nightmare is that the one that was on the TV with the VHS? No.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And like I remember playing that with my friends the first time. Like he got it for his birthday or something. It sat there for about a year. Then we had like a bunch of young kids and guys hanging out one night at his house, and he's like, "Let's play this game." Oh my god, we would die and laugh when we played that whole game. We loved it.
Yeah.
I played it when I was like 8. We didn't really play it. We just put the VHS on, and the house that we played it at was like he lived in the bush. So we used to go run in the bush after, like we'd watch this like ghoulish video and then go run in the dark in a forest. Good times.
yeah, no kidding.
Good times.
And nobody lost.
We played the whole game.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
we played it all night long. I think we played it twice. Then we realized the replay value of this game is getting really, really short.
Yeah, I bet. It's have you guys seen the Klingon Star Trek board game, next gen one? That's VHS based. It's the same thing. You play it once and you kind of already know what's going to happen, right? So, but yeah.
No, mine's Zombicide like that, Steve. I don't know if you ever heard of Zombicide, but it's similar type of board game. You're trying to fight zombies, you know, go from point A to point B. But the expansion was the same thing, like having to pay like every expansion was like $80.
Hi.
It just gets to be too much.
Oh yeah.
But a very low replay value. Is that what you're saying, Clint?
No, actually, they had good, decent missions. You could download new missions, right? It's just a map, right? It's just a board, and so it wasn't too bad. But then eventually you're like, okay, well, I've done this mission, 15 times with the same group of friends. It's time to get a new one. That was the downfall, right?
Okay. Yeah.
It's a good. One of my favorite board games, more recent board games, or recent, but in the last 10 years that came out, that was like that.
Settlers? I can't make it from here.
Oh, nice one, Dave.
Salesman?
Not even opened yet. Not even opened yet. I got to get the Reaper expansion, a couple other expansions before I can crack it open.
So one, I've never heard of it.
Yeah, I'm trying to make it out from here.
This is a revised 4th edition Talisman.
Oh, there's Settlers of Catan.
Yep.
Also not brand new. We haven't had a chance to play it yet before we moved.
Oh man. So
But
now
that's
that you
all right.
moved, do you have any friends or peers near you, or do you got to build that base up again?
Yeah. We have
Starting
two.
fresh,
We have
eh?
2 friends in town. Now, we have 4 now.
Oh, you just met your neighbors, I bet.
They're actually our next door neighbors and another couple from work. So we'll get them into Settlers of Catan, and then it's all downhill from there.
Yeah.
We're gonna make this house the game house. That house will be where the kids stay.
That is the best plan.
Yeah. That way I don't have to deal with any mess.
Get away from that simply because all the kids stuff I already have that I play with. All the kids want to come here, so I can't get away from it. But anyway, we'll wait for Dave to get back. But I bet we're getting pretty late there for time with the recording. We could probably wrap it up, but before we do, again, thank you for joining. And I need to see what Dave is trying to show us.
Oh no, I'm just getting beer.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So unless there's anything else there you wanted to ask Clint, or you guys wanted to share, I think we could wrap it up, but maybe have a little bit of a powwow with a beer after.
Yeah, cool. No, I'm good, man. I appreciate it, guys, for joining us today. It's good chit chat and catching up.
Hopefully, I got some content in there.
Oh yeah, you did.
Yeah. You did indeed, good sir. You did indeed.
We'll have to do it again, and maybe what we could do, we'll have to talk about this, but maybe a live stream or even a game night or something like that. If there's something we could do like together online, that'd be kind of neat. Kind of something different we could do with our show. See how it goes.
We've gamed via Discord.
Yeah, we could
Dave
do
and I
Discord.
have. So we could do that.
Yeah,
We could
totally,
do,
yeah.
why
Generation
not?
Dragons Discord server.
Ooh, I like it. Yeah.
Works
All right,
for
let's
us.
do it.
Works for us.
I'm
Cool.
the idea guy.
We're liking the idea, guy. But anyway, thanks again, guys. It's great having you. Sorry to wrap it up, but one of the big things we do is we make these run a little long. And I know we're already way past what we've been trying to do, but I do appreciate talking to you guys tonight. And I know Clint did. I had a really good time. That said, as always, keep collecting.
Keep gaming.
Keep safe.
That's what Dave says all the time.
Be safe.